How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Big things are happening right now. We just got CPI. It was better than expected. Now Bitcoin's flying up. We have altcoins flying up. I'm getting notifications right now that cryptos are moving up along with the stock market. There are a lot of stocks moving up pretty significantly right now. I want to talk about this. Talk about some of the big things that are happening right now, some of the big things that were announced in crypto, including the Russian central bank giving the okay to investors to buy crypto and Bitcoin. We also had an insane liquidation that happened with someone going 50x long with a significant amount of money, about $270 million being liquidated like that. So we'll talk about that and a couple other things from Sailor and Lummis. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video. You might hear some rattling around. That's the baby in the background, making a lot of noise over there, playing. But if you want to trade cryptos, there are links underneath the video to WEEX, BTCC, BTCC, Blowfin, and Hotcoin. So if you want to check those out, I definitely consider it. I've been saying that I've been placing long positions as we've been falling down, right? I just placed a long position on Solana just a day or two ago. And of course, you need to know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, I have several videos on setting up long positions here on the channel. I also posted a 40-minute video in the Patreon, so you can get access to that if you're interested. Now, CPI came in lower than expected. We have PPI tomorrow, but CPI came in lower than expected. It came in at 2.8% year over year. The estimate was 2.9%, and the core came in at 3.1% versus 3.2%. So both CPI and core CPI came in lower than expected. Keep in mind, a lot of people assumed that, well, I guess there are varying beliefs on inflation moving forward. Some people are saying, well, because of tariffs, we're going to see higher than expected inflation. That's where some of the fear in the market's coming. And then the other side is people are saying, well, there's Doge that is firing a lot of people, cutting down on spending. So that could have a ripple effect where there's lower spending. And I think that's why you get this divergence of opinions right now. A lot of people thinking that these tariffs could be really detrimental. And then there are just a lot of people that think that Trump is initiating these tariffs just to get certain things that he wants in the short term. So it's kind of an interesting thing, but this CPI coming in lower than expected and the core CPI coming in lower than expected, obviously very bullish for the markets, and we're seeing the markets jump up right now. Bitcoin went up to 84,000 just a few minutes ago. We have stocks like Tesla going up 5%, Amazon up 2%, Uber up 2%, like a handful of companies. Those are just a few that I looked at moving up on this news. The more risk on, or the stocks that people have been selling off over the last couple of days. So yeah, just don't mind the dog here. We will get back to me just making videos in the office, but with the baby, obviously, time is a little bit more demanded, and it's a little bit more difficult. So we'll get back to the more professional setup in a bit. Right now, though, you have to deal with the dog taking up half of the screen. So yeah, CPI coming in lower than expected, obviously very bullish for markets. We'll talk about whether this marks a bottom. But we also got news that the Russian central bank is going to allow Bitcoin and crypto purchases. Now, bullish news, but who knows? Who knows? I feel like we get new Russian news, new China news all the time. And I don't know if it really ever amounts to anything. I think whenever you have a government that goes back and forth like they do on these different cryptos, people like to make a big deal of it. But yeah, as an investor, you're almost a little bit worried, I suppose, to buy this stuff because you don't know what's going to happen like next month. Are they just going to ban it again, outlaw it? I guess you could get your hands on some crypto while it's legal, but yeah, I just don't know enough about it to say that this is extremely bullish. I think it sounds bullish, but who knows, right? Who knows about this kind of news? And sometimes this stuff is recycled, but people are talking about it here on Twitter, so I thought I'd mention it. Lummis and Sailor say big things are coming. Big things with a Bitcoin B. So I believe they're talking about the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Lummis is trying to get the US to buy Bitcoin, not just hold Bitcoin, but to buy 1 million Bitcoin. So obviously, if this gets passed, everything is out the window as to how high Bitcoin can go during this bull run. This means that other nations have to do something similar. And yeah, another buyer that buys, about what Saylor buys, maybe even more, that's going to cause the markets to jump up in price. Now, I would caution you, right? Now we are very bullish, right? I think this could be a bottom. I've been buying heavy the last couple of days, and I've been talking about it. I've been saying, hey, I am buying heavy. I'm going long on different cryptos. I bought the stock market fairly heavy too, with some altcoin, with some tech stocks that I really wanted. But I've been cautioning against going too long, about being too leveraged. And there are people that open up, 50x, 100x positions, and even if the market flips bullish, the fact is you can get liquidated. So we just got good CPI data. Oh, 1 second here. We just got good CPI data. And even with that, there's someone that had $270 million on ETH, but they're on 50x and they got liquidated just a few minutes before the CPI data came out. Like it's pretty crazy when you're on 50x, because even if good news comes out, sometimes the market just wicks down or wicks up to wash you out, to flush you out, to liquidate you right before you actually get the intended move. So this person was right about the move, but much too aggressive. Now, if you can put down $5 million or $6 million at 50x, you probably don't really care too much if you lose it, because you're probably worth billions of dollars. But still, that is very aggressive. So be careful of moves like that. Just because you see other people do it doesn't mean that you should necessarily do it. So a lot of the time these whales are correct, but anyone going 50x is just a degenerate, right? Like, I don't know why anyone would do that with that kind of money. Obviously, if they had just done 10x or 20x, they would have gotten the move right. They wouldn't have gotten liquidated, and they would have made a ton of money. But let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Again, I think we may be close to a bottom. I think a lot of the fears right now are over inflation and whether the Fed's going to cut rates and whether recession is going to happen. But if inflation comes down like we expect, like I expect, the Fed, I think, has a real reason to cut rates, partly because of inflation, partly because of jobs, and partly because of the tightening of the government. I think they can say, hey, we project that we really do need to cut rates, so we're going to start cutting and quantitative easing. This allows the economy to get back on track. This allows people to think that we're going to avoid recession. And even if people feel a little bit more confident, I don't know how much people are going to spend, just because things are relatively expensive and there are people losing jobs. So I think we can still keep inflation low. We can keep rates coming down, and that will fuel risk markets. I mean, there are a lot of companies that are at significant discounts. Bitcoin's at a significant discount. I mean, if I had told you 3 months ago that we would get a strategic Bitcoin reserve and Bitcoin would be at 83,000, it would have gone down to 78. I'm not sure too many people would have believed me. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. I really do appreciate you guys watching. Again, if you want to check out the links underneath the video to the different exchanges, you can. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.